What's new, 802? I'm Becca Hammond, and you're listening to Vermont Talks. Vermont Talks may include graphic or explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. On this week's episode, we have Hilary Rooney. Hilary is the owner of Take Good Care Fitness. She's a personal trainer and a group fitness coach. Hilary is specializing in helping women feel strong, empowered, and confident in their bodies and minds. She's also the owner of the adorable Pemmy. Hilary, tell me a little bit about where you're from originally.
Oh, well, I am from Vermont, so there's not a huge surprise there, exciting story really, but I've grown up here all my life. I have lived in lots of different places in Vermont. I grew up in Essex Junction, went to high school in Montpelier at U32,
Nice.
came back to Burlington for UVM, and then now I'm in South Burlington. So bounced around a little bit, but didn't go too far. So yeah, Vermonter all my life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're here to talk about your business.
Yes.
What inspired you to make your business? I know you were a personal trainer before, but during COVID, you created a business, which is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
So, what inspired you to start the business?
I'm not sure how smart that was, but no, it was really cool. So, well, I worked for a gym previously, and I had been teaching classes there and getting a little bit into personal training. And my personal training job there was all remote. So I was programming for people and sending them the workouts, and they were doing them on their own time in either a gym or in their house or whatever. So I was still their coach, and we'd go back and forth, and I'd give feedback and cheerlead and all that kind of stuff. But it was purely remote, so they could be anywhere. So once things kind of started to fizzle at that gym, and I just wasn't feeling super aligned with the mission anymore, and was kind of feeling like I was ready for a new challenge and kind of my own thing, I thought in the kind of beginning of the more like the end, I guess, towards the end of the pandemic, I would start my own business instead. Having that experience, I'd been teaching for about 2+ years or so, and always been involved in kind of fitness and athletics throughout my whole life. So I just thought, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it for myself on my own, and I have my own kind of mission and feel and unique kind of niche that I wanted to get into. So I thought, why not? I can do this. So that's what I did. And I started with just classes, and now it's kind of evolved into personal training remote. And now I'm getting into one-on-one in-person training as well. So yeah, it's been a journey, a quick journey, it feels like, with the business, since it's been a little bit over 3 months. But it feels like I've been doing this forever. So it feels very natural, very good. That's great.
Yeah. So it's called kind of centered around the website, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a website, and it's simple. I wanted it to be very straightforward and really not super fluffy, and very direct, kind of like what I have and what I'm about. And it's all my stuff's there. I've learned how to nowhere close to what you do, Becca, but not program, but set up a website, at least with kind of a template, I guess, because I use Wix. And so I've been very proud of myself that I've been able to set that up and use a different service that I can embed certain things in there, like my schedule and signups and stuff like that. So that is not something that comes very naturally to me at all. So I've been pretty pumped to get that going and actually have it work.
It looks really good for starters. And it's takegoodcarefitness.com.
Yes,
correct?
that is correct. Yes.
And you have a huge amount of videos. Is that right?
I have not a huge amount. I would love to grow it. So I have 5 on-demand videos right now that I have recorded of me doing a workout and coaching through the workout. So people it was really kind of geared towards people who were taking my classes and maybe were like on vacation or something, and they wanted to kind of fill in while they were gone. And so they could use their class pass or drop into a class with me, basically. So it's me kind of like huffing and puffing and dying through this workout. So they kind of feel like they're with me. But I think you're talking about all those million videos that I recorded, which is for my Trainerize app, which is what I use for my remote training clients. So that is, those I have about 400 of right now.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. A much bigger library. So those are like 15-second clips of pretty much every exercise that I could think of. So that when I program for my remote clients and I set up their workouts, they have a video and a written cue of every single exercise. And the Trainerize app is awesome because you can literally plug it all in. They press play and it like guides them through the workout.
That's really creative. Yeah. That's really cool.
It's so awesome. It's really, really helpful. And it's super easy to do, which is great. Very time consuming for the video stuff that I've done, but it's nice that once it's done, and then I have it and I can use it going forward. So
right. That's really cool. Is it like a drag and drop thing where you can build up a whole training session? I don't know what you call it. A workout, I guess.
Yes.
A whole training session, a workout from the bottom up. So you have all of the first like warm up exercises leading into harder stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Drag and drop. I can view my library. I just drag what I want. I put in rests. I put in reps. You can set up whether you want intervals. So if I want it to be 40 seconds versus 10 reps, I can do that. I can leave notes for them, and give specialized instructions if needed. And then on their end, when they do it, they can leave notes and record what weights they used and all sorts of stuff like that.
Tell me a little bit about, you said you have a specific message and theme that you want for your business.
Yeah. So my business is really geared towards women. Sorry, dudes. I will let you come to class and I'd even probably do some training, but it's really geared towards women. And really finding, this is going to sound a little corny, but joy in movement and wellness and prioritizing that in your life at whatever level you're at. And so many people really just, I feel like they think that they have to be a certain way. They have to start at a certain level and they're, it's too late or, they don't know what to do and they don't know what to ask. And I want to create this space for anyone and everyone to come to try to figure out kind of where they are and work with that and not feel judged or feel self-conscious. And so really just finding that joy, that sweet spot where movement is a priority. We talk a lot about in my classes and with my clients about all the mind work that goes along with fitness and being active, and that sometimes that's even more important than the actual physical movement. And so we focus a lot on celebrating wins and getting into that mindset work that I think makes all the difference. So yeah, I think the mission is meeting yourself where you are, not being afraid to try, and celebrating when you freaking crush something that's amazing, and just keep moving on from there.
That's awesome, because I know a lot of people, and I struggle with it. Going in a gym is really not fun. It's not something that I want to do. It's it's extremely self-conscious. It's uncomfortable. There's a lot of different things that I don't want to go to a gym. When you do go to a gym, it's an immediately negative experience and you don't want to repeat it. And I think a lot of people experience negative things when they try to get into fitness.
Absolutely.
I've heard horror stories from people. Yeah. There's a lot of weird gatekeeping that comes with some gyms. Just some places are just very weirdly gate-kept, and you'll meet a guy who's supposed to be training you and he'll like offend you or just like say something really derogatory immediately. And it ruins the whole experience.
Absolutely. You are not alone at all. And I have definitely heard those horror stories as well. And I've experienced them myself, even being someone who's not scared really in a gym or feel like I don't really feel I've been in so many gyms that for me, it's not an uncomfortable feeling, but I've heard that from so many people that I've talked to. And so that's where I like to kind of separate from that and differentiate myself from that feeling, because I think that's such a common thing. And like you said, people saying things that probably that guy doesn't even think he's offending anyone, or it's just because people don't think about what they're saying and how things come across. And that's another piece of my kind of mission. I think that it matters what we say so much as the trainer and as the coach, and the way that we phrase things is so important, because that brain just picks up those stories and picks up those things that people can say to you. You know, like, for example, in a class, I will never say, if this is too hard for you, do this. Because that's just automatically making someone feel like, well, I'm not good enough or I'm not strong enough, so I need to drop down to this level. So I'm very careful about saying things like, instead, I will say, if this doesn't feel good today, or, you know, if this is going to serve you better. It's like almost getting a little bit yogi with it, honestly. But it's truly, I think, so important.
Yeah, the good vibes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
positivity versus negativity. And
Right.
even something with some trainers where they're not saying something negative, but it's the look on their face, it's the tone of their voice.
Right.
It comes out in a negative way. And
Totally.
we all pick up on that stuff if you feel like you're disappointing them or what have you.
Right.
Or
Absolutely.
it's too hard, it's not good enough, you know, like I can't do it.
Yeah.
You're a zillion times more likely to quit and just say, I'm done. This didn't make me feel good. I'm done.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, if it doesn't feel good, then you're not going to do it. And you go there to feel better because you want to work, you know, you want to move your body. And if you're going somewhere and someone's speaking to you that way, you're going to move right along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what we say matters so much. And I take a lot of pride in being very, very intentional with what I'm saying to my clients and my class people and my humans. It comes pretty easy to me because I love them all. So it's, you know, I want everyone to feel really good and really welcome. And so I think that I do that.
I think you're putting out a great vibe.
Thank
Everything
you.
you're doing online that I've seen has been great. I haven't actually attended a class yet.
Oh, well, you're welcome anytime.
I know. I need to come to Tabata.
Yes, Tabata.
I got the right word.
Yes, you said it correctly. Yeah, that's an awesome one to start with. It's I like to call it quick and dirty. The quick and dirty 30. Actually, I guess we want to make it 3. But it's great because you don't need anything, just your body.
What do you do? Can you describe it since it's, you know, it's a podcast? And I'll link to your stuff, but what is Tabata?
So a Tabata is essentially a Tabata, usually used as a finisher, really, or like something you're going to do at the end of the workout to kind of burn out. You know, it's often like a cardio thing. So it is 2. It could be 2. I guess it could be 1, but 2 sets or 2 exercises alternating. That's usually how I do it. So, for example, you're doing squat jumps and push-ups. So you'll do squat jumps for 20 seconds, have a 10-second rest, push-ups for 20 seconds, 10-second rest, and then you go through that 4 times. So that's a Tabata. So it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And then, so my Tabata's class is made up of 4 of those. So you go through the first set, have a little break where I demo the next one, go through the next one. And then so at the end of it, you've done 8 exercises, but so 4 unique Tabatas. They're all body weight. A lot of my clients will incorporate weights if they have them, but I bump up the music and we just go. And lots of options, which is another thing that I really like to do so that everyone feels like there's something for them. So we have impact options, non-impact options, all sorts of stuff. So I'm always showing everything so you can kind of pick and choose what you like. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that beginners could actually do. Sometimes things get so complicated that
For sure.
that doing two things
Yeah, just
alternating.
have to do 2 things exactly, and that's another thing is like these days, you know, you watch fitness influencers on Instagram and you're like, what the heck are you even doing? Like, I don't even think I can move my body that way, and I'm not even sure I'm supposed to. So keeping it pretty functional is also another goal of mine in the exercises I choose. You know, we get a little bit fun with it, with, you know, getting bouncy and getting into some cardio stuff, but a lot of it is pretty functional, meaning that they're movements that will actually help you enhance things that you already do in your daily life.
Right.
So, you know, we do lunges and squats and things because we want to be able to stand up from a chair and we want to to be able to walk upstairs, and like things like that we're actually doing, versus like some crazy movements that are these weird combos of everything jumping around, and all of a sudden you're in a handstand and you're like, when am I ever going to use this? Like,
right. All right. And you get confused and hurt yourself. That's a thing with beginners. If it's too much, it's too confusing.
Yeah. And then you tend to not, and if you're a beginner, you might not quite know your, really where you're at or kind of how to pace yourself in a way. So then often I've had definitely people come to my class where they leave being like, holy crap, I kind of feel like I'm going to throw up, or I feel like I'm sick. And I never want that, but I think it takes some time to kind of find that sweet spot, that balance, because I never want anyone to leave. That doesn't happen very often. I don't want to scare anyone away. But yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me pull out my other pieces. Oh, wait. Do you still do classes online, like group classes? Yeah.
So the Tabatas is a group class online. So those are all via Zoom. So it's awesome because you can join from anywhere. And the majority of my classes are still online right now. I have 4 online, and then the Sunday class, the boot camp class, is outside in the Instrumart parking lot.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, boot camp class. So
yes.
How long is the boot camp class?
Boot camp class is 45 minutes, and I provide all the equipment. Currently, my trunk is a traveling gym. So I've got kettlebells and all sorts of stuff, slam balls, steps and jump ropes and everything you could need. So I set it all up and plan it out, and then you come, work it out, and then 45 minutes goes by and you're off on your Sunday fun day.
Boot camp sounds, so that one sounds a little more intense.
It's a little more intense, but I like to say that all my classes are what you make them. So there's always going to be something for everyone. And really the key is kind of learning yourself and learning what feels good to you. So, even in boot camp, if I'm, showing a loaded squat jump, so you're holding a kettlebell and you're also jumping, I'm also going to say, okay, or you can be working in a squat grounded and not jumping, or you can literally throw the weight aside and work a body weight squat. So there's always lots of options, just like with the Tabatas. Even though you're throwing in weights, it's not, you can go ham if you want, but you also don't have to, and you can still get a really good workout and get your movement in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's on Sunday.
Yeah,
the boot camp's on Sunday, and that one's in person.
Yes.
But your other classes online, do you have them all scheduled?
Yeah, they're all scheduled monthly. So right now I have Tabatas on Tuesday and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. to 7:30, so bright and early. And then Wednesday and Thursday evenings from 5:30 to 6:15, I have a dumbbell hit, and then one called drop intervals, which is more of a strength-based class. So I do recommend having some dumbbells for that one, or a kettlebell. Again, I always give the body weight options though, so you don't need to. But yeah, with my schedule, it is scheduled out monthly. We're coming into August, so I'm switching it up a little bit, just because, the summer coming out of a pandemic and everybody's pretty psyched to be outside and doing things with people. So classes have been showing that a little bit, and I've been seeing more people in my in-person classes, and a little bit more interest in the personal training. So we'll gear back up in the fall for more options, I think. But yeah, I change it up monthly. I keep it consistent for the month to make sure everyone gets what they need.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So do you have calendar notifications? How do people remember these things?
So you get when you sign up for classes on my website, you get an email. If it's a Zoom class, then you get the link right away. And then I believe it's maybe an hour or half an hour before the class, you get another email being like, don't forget, you signed up for this class. And then there is also an option to add to your calendar the class once you sign up for it as well. So you can put that on your calendar for yourself and not forget.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great. So pop-up classes. What else do we talk about? We talked about the intermediate warning. We talked about different types of classes.
Yeah.
Any specific things that you want to talk about that were on my list?
I think one that was on your list that I definitely wanted to talk about was I think you asked what I would recommend for a beginner.
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry.
So
yes.
No. Yeah.
Fitness,
I really
intermediate fitness.
like that question because I have a lot of people that come that say, I've never tried a class before with you. Like, what do you recommend? Will this be okay for a beginner? Am I going to die? Like, no deaths yet. So I think you're going to be safe. But I think for, people who label themselves as a beginner, I would recommend, honestly, all you have to do is really come with an openness to try and to really let yourself evolve during the class and kind of figure out where you are and what feels good, and whether you even like that kind of workout. So like, that's another thing I feel like people who are coming from, maybe not having moved for a little while, or they're really looking to kind of bump up their wellness routine. And, we all see all the Instagram posts and Facebook and whatever else out there, and talking about what you should be doing, all these things. You should be doing Zumba, you should be doing strength training, you should be doing CrossFit, you should be running 30 miles a day. Like, everyone's in our face telling us what we should do. And I am just such a firm believer in that. If you don't like what you're doing, you're never going to stick with it. So if you don't try, to get yourself into a couple different things, or try out strength training, try out running, you're kind of selling yourself short, I think. Like, you got to find what it is that you really like. And then the other thing, and maybe even more importantly, is to start really, really slow. And I think a lot of people like to go from 0 to 100 and be like, okay, I haven't moved in 5 years, and now all of a sudden I'm going to work out 5 times a week. And your brain and your body are going to be like, what the actual hell? Like,
right,
I have gone from sitting on the couch to all of a sudden you want me to be in a gym sweating my ass off for an hour every day. Like, your body's going to go into a shock. And so I always recommend, and when I start out with my remote clients, or personal training clients who have not really had a very consistent wellness routine, is, even if they say like, yeah, I'm ready to go, I'm like, we're going to start out with like a couple times a week and maybe add in some walking and like, just to get that routine going. And that is such an important foundation to set before you start really diving into everything. And I know for some people it can feel slow, but it's kind of supposed to. That's how you kind of build on, and how your body isn't going to be like, holy crap, like I'm going to go into like panic mode because you're making me work so hard.
Right. And one of the worst things you can do when you start working out again, or, as a beginner, is go to 100 and then hurt yourself.
Hurt yourself, burn out.
Take a week to recover from whatever injury you gave yourself.
Yep.
And then you've lost all that motivation, that oomph that you had when you first started, that, drove you to 100 so you could hurt yourself.
Exactly. Or then you've also kind of made this fear about, around injury, which I can relate to completely. And having, gone through an injury myself, not, in the beginning, but still you kind of get, it's again, such a mental thing sometimes. So it's, the injury piece of it and hurting yourself, we never want that, of course. And that is your body's way of being like, too fast, too much, like, no thanks. And, protecting you. So, you can either decide to slow down, or your body's going to decide for you. Is really kind of what I like to tell people. So,
and when you're just starting out, getting the right form for things is, you don't know what you're doing, and it's hard to do it first. And it's really easy to do things wrong and hurt yourself. You do 6 squats and you're like, oh, what did I do? I pulled some muscle on there. I should not have pulled.
Right. And then it's like, like you said, you lose momentum. And so it's, I think it's really important to start out small to ease your way into things. Yeah.
So if you were intermediate, do you think your classes are a good place where you're like, okay, I can do everything just Hilary just said the first time, I don't have to change the weights at all?
Yeah.
Like, is that intermediate, or would you say you're more at an advanced level?
I would say that is pretty intermediate. I have a hard time like labeling them, I guess, because I kind of feel like everyone has their own unique thing that they want out of the workout, or what level they're at, I guess. So I think it depends. Like, a lot of my classes are very like HIIT based, because a lot of people want in that high intensity interval training. So very like high energy, we're jumping around, we're doing cardio, adding in strength as well, which can be seen as kind of an advanced type of exercise, but it really can be for anybody. So I think it's really scalable. So I think it's pretty hard to label it for me. I always have a hard time. That's why when I get that question of like, can I do this? And I was like, yes, everyone can do it. Like you can. And so I think it really could be, every class could be beginner, intermediate, or advanced, depending on kind of where you're at, what you're bringing to it. And then there's a point when maybe the classes aren't doing it for you anymore because you are kind of in this level where you need a little bit more one-on-one. And then that's when I'm going to rope you in for some personal training.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So is there anything else that I want to talk about with you besides PEMI? I want to talk about PEMI.
Talk about PEMI.
So you went to UVM. Did you study anything related to fitness?
No, I'm an English major. If I were to go back and do it again, I think I would definitely do something a little more related to this field. But I, growing up as, you know, I was pretty immersed in wellness and activity and being, you know, active for a lot of my life. My mom literally was an aerobics instructor when she was pregnant with me. So I think I kind of started before I was even here. And then my dad is, you know, an avid hiker and biker and skier and all that stuff. So, you know, I did all the high school sports and was the captain of the lacrosse team and, you know, all that stuff and dabbled in running and half marathons and Zumba and like all this stuff. And then, you know, through college, it was kind of a mixture of things, but I really didn't find, I think, the passion for what I'm doing now until later in my 20s when I really started to work with a trainer for the first time and to get involved in lifting weights. And at that time, the trainer I was working with was very into heavy weights. And I can safely say I don't think I'm ever going to go back to that again. He was great, but it was not, I did it for a while and I was probably like the quote unquote leanest I've ever been, but I was also like the most focused ever on my body in like a weird way that I definitely don't promote in my training now, and learned a lot from that. But then I also ended with an injury. So it was kind of a transformation, I think, that kind of needed to happen. But so if I were to go back, that's my long answer for that I'm an English major and didn't have anything to do with sports or athletics in college. But, you know, I've been around a lot of athletic trainers and I thought, you know, that would be a pretty cool profession to have done looking back. But here we are. So I can still, you know, it's really nice that they do these certifications through NASM where you don't necessarily need that background. Of course, it would be very helpful. I'm sure, like when I first started studying for that, the CPT, the Certified Personal Training exam, the first couple chapters, and I'm sure they do this on purpose, is like all anatomy and like all about muscles and bones and all this stuff. And I'm just like, what? Like my mind was like blown. I was like, are you trying to scare me away? Cause it's working. And luckily like it got, you know, once you made it past those dense chapters on all of memorizing every friggin' muscle we have in our body, it all came together. But it was nice knowing that like I could do that and I could pass that test and I could get this certification without having to have that background. So it's not like I, you know, missed out on something and I could still pick it up, which was great. So yeah, it's my English major. It was, you know, now back then, quote unquote, when you just needed a degree. That's what you went to college for at that point, you know? So it's what I did.
So were you doing like bodybuilding, like competitions? What were you?
Oh no. But I know people who did that and it's an amazing discipline. No, I was involved with, I wasn't actually in it, but my coach was a TFW, Training for Warriors coach. And so that was kind of their focus was lifting heavy. So lots of, you know, deadlifts and back squats, all, you know, with the focus being your 1 rep max. So what's the most weight you can do for 1 rep? Whereas now my focus is much more in that middle, it's hypertrophy. So it's more of like, you know, the 10 to 12 to even a little bit higher rep where you're using lighter weights, but not super, super light, but definitely not in that, I don't know, I don't want to call it a danger zone. If you want to lift heavy and you feel good about it, go for it. But for me, it just brings back like these memories of just feeling scared of it a little bit. And it's like, it's not something that I want to coach because it's not something I feel super comfortable with.
It's something you really need to be, you have to have that form right. And people can really hurt
and
their
every
backs
little thing.
and
That's
their
the thing.
legs
I hurt my back, and it was, you don't want to hurt your back. And, that became, such a mental struggle for me too. Once I hurt my back, and it's a couple 4 or 5 years down the road, I was still kind of dealing with it mentally, and just that fear around getting hurt, even though I was healed. So it's a powerful thing, that memory of pain and injury, and it's hard to really get past that sometimes. So I like to stay, and I don't want to say safe because we're still absolutely challenging ourselves. But in that realm where like we were talking about, anyone can get into that beginner, intermediate, advanced, you can still get an amazing workout without lifting 200 pounds. And for some people, they want to do that, and that's amazing, and they have a coach, and they feel safe and they feel strong, and that's great. But for me, it's kind of, I like this side of it a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's pretty, I feel like bodybuilding and lifting very heavy.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing is a very niche part.
For sure.
And it's always been there. It's not like, they've been lifting heavy stuff for a really long time.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's totally different than there's a million different types of fitness in this world.
So much.
And some people just, a lot of people, I think the average majority person doesn't want to lift 600 pounds.
Exactly. It's usually not their goal. And then the bodybuilding thing is like the discipline that it takes in the diet, and it's so much about that. And I only speak from my very small amount of knowledge about it, but so I don't want to say anything that's incorrect. But it's an insane amount of discipline in the kitchen and in the gym too. But that's so much about that physique and being, just getting those muscles to pop and getting your body fat way, way, way down. And I just like food way too much to be interested in that, honestly. So, but for some people, like that's, an awesome goal to work towards. And for me, I'm going to take the bread and the beer. So,
right.
Yeah.
Something interesting I read once, it was an article about a man who had been a bodybuilder, and I think he might have won some massive competition.
Yeah.
And he ended up switching to gymnastics, which was really interesting. But he said they challenged me. Some gymnast asked me to lift my own body weight, and I couldn't do it. And it just ruined his whole perspective.
Interesting.
Because that was it. It's like a niche field, but it wasn't usable in the way that he wanted it to be, which was all of a sudden he had that epiphany, like, oh man, I really want to be able to use my body in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
And that training really wasn't giving that to him. So now he's on like the uneven bars and doing all this.
I heard about that actually. And that's the amazing thing about strength is like, it's just, you can be the strongest person in the world or whatever, and you can't do a chin up, yet you can lift 600 pounds, where then you have me who's not the strongest person in the world and can't lift 600 pounds, but I can do 15 chin ups with my body weight. So like and that's like been my focus, and not to like toot my own horn, but a little bit because I've been working on it, so I'm excited. But so it's just so amazing, and that doesn't make one of us stronger than the other. It's just such a different focus. It's just whatever you focus on. So it's whatever your goals are, and I think that's really such a wonderful thing about wellness and fitness is that it doesn't need to, and health in general, it doesn't need to look any certain way, and you can really get creative and make it work for you personally, which is a lot of what I try to do in my programs and in my classes is just, get creative, make sure everyone is getting what they need, especially in the customized programming and training. It's all about you. There's no canned programs that I'm handing out to people. And so it's finding your strength in your way. I have a client right now who wants to get better at jump roping. So I was like, okay, cool. So we're going to throw in jump roping. Whereas like some of my other clients would be like, I don't want to be anywhere near jump rope. Like, no thanks. So it's really kind of like, it's nice that it can be so unique and be so personal.
Yeah, it's all about what you really want to get done.
Right.
I mean, and a lot of people start with like, I want to be healthy.
Yes.
Like that's Perfect. That's a great place to start. But a lot of other people are like, I really want to be a great snowboarder.
Right.
I want to, bike forever. I want to be, there's all these weird things that, you need your body to do that a personal trainer can help you get to those goals.
Exactly. And honestly, like personal training, I feel like can be such a good addition to, or strength training in general, or classes, whatever, can be a really good addition to a lot of other training as well. Just a complement really, to certain things. I know a lot of runners who also incorporate strength training into their routines because, why not strengthen up your legs as well while you're also running a million miles? And so, if you can get a coach, not me, I'm not specialized in, marathon training, but someone I'm sure is who also incorporates strength training. And that's just kind of, I think it's great because it can be really used with a lot of different things to help enhance whatever you want to do. But yeah, getting super specific about your goals is so important. Like you said, saying like, I want to be healthy. That's awesome. But like, what does that mean to you? Like, what is that, Right. And so a lot of people will come to me and say, I want to get stronger, and I'm like, okay, but how and what? Like, let's work that's kind of the one place where I'm like, let's actually dial down into some metrics here. Not necessarily about, weight loss or a number on the scale, but like, okay, what does strength mean to you? Does that mean you want to be able to do 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 push-ups? Do you want to be able to do a chin-up? Like, what is it? What will be kind of the marker? And then, because you have to have some way to measure, right? Like progress. So really diving deep into those goals is definitely important.
That's awesome. So it's what you want it to be.
It's what you want it to be. Exactly. And I'm, your guide, your cheerleader. But I'm here for you. I work for you. So it's, and I love it. So it's easy for me to really like jump on board with whatever you want to do and help you get there. And if I don't know how, I'm going to figure it out.
Well, you've got 400 exercises lined up to drag and drop in place.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yep, and there's more coming. I'm always thinking of different ones. So different things I've missed, different variations to make sure everybody's taken care of.
Right. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about Pemmy.
Pemmy. Oh. All right. Well, the light of my life. She is a golden doodle, and she is... I call her a ginger, but I guess kind of an apricot color. She's a little over 3, and she's about 42 pounds exactly. And she is just keeps me on my toes. Ball of energy, that one. And she's started to come to some Take Good Care Fitness classes. So she is at boot camp most Sundays, roaming around.
Added perk.
Yeah, an added perk. Gives away a lot of free kisses and hugs. So, and cheerleading as well. So she helps me with that. She's not quite allowed in the studio yet downstairs in our house because that's where also the cat toys are, because we also have a cat. And so that's like kind of his lair. And she likes to come down and steal all the toys. So she's not allowed down there quite yet, but we're going to try and maybe make that happen in the coming months or so. But she's awesome, and she's queen of the house. So yeah,
Pemmy is super cute.
Yes.
I'll have to put a picture of Pemmy on the show notes page. She's adorable.
Yeah.
Do you have to get golden doodles groomed?
Oh yeah, you do. So she gets groomed probably every 8 to 10 weeks. I made the mistake. Well, actually, this was not really my fault. We can blame COVID. We had an appointment I don't know, right before it hit hard here. So I guess like at the end of February or, mid-March, sometime around then. And we had to of course, the groomer closed, as everything did. And so we had to put off our appointment for like 6 weeks or something like that. And she was really due, and she got really, really long and matted. They mat, and it's hair, not fur. So it was a mess. And I always think she looks the most adorable when she has the longest hair, but it usually means there's something bad going on underneath.
Right. A lot of brushing.
A lot of brushing, and I'm not the best at it. Oops. So I bring her to the groomer, and she texted me before I came to pick her up, and she's like, you're gonna be pretty shocked. Like, we had to pretty much shave her because she was like matted down to, oh my God, you should see the pictures. She looks like a different dog. And the poor thing, like, she was just this little skinny thing. I mean, she's so fluffy, like you see her, but she's really, really pretty tiny if you get rid of all that hair. And so brought her home and she was like traumatized. She's like, I'm naked. Like I'm all out there. And all my neighbors thought I got a new dog. Like it was, and I took pictures every week. I have a whole like collection of in 13 weeks what it grew back to. And oh my gosh, it felt like it took forever. So anyway, yes, we now stay very much on top of the grooming. And especially during summer because she loves to swim. So that doesn't help with the matting. So she has to go pretty often. Yeah.
That's interesting. They have hair. I don't really think about that, where it just keeps growing and growing.
Yeah,
it's not like the fur that falls out.
Exactly, because she doesn't shed, which is amazing, and she's supposedly hypoallergenic. I don't know if they can actually confirm that she really is, but so yeah, she doesn't shed, which is great, and but she's she's a sassy one. Yeah.
Oh well. It's been awesome talking to you, Hilary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Go check out Hilary's website, takegoodcarefitness.com. She's also on Instagram.
Yes, at Take Good Care Fitness.
And you have a Facebook page, right?
I'm trying to think. Page. It's all Take Good Care Fitness. So yeah, there's a Facebook page and then there's a group. So if you want to come join the accountability group, once you become a member, then I would love to have you there, share lots of fun stuff and do polls and fun challenges and like fun challenges. Well, I don't know if you think it's fun, but like water challenges. Let's drink some water today. It's fun for me.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so positivity, positive personal training and classes.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Hilary.
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you so much for listening to the end of the episode. Thank you to Hilary for coming on the show. The show notes for today's episode are at vermonttalks.com/28. You can find Hilary's website at takegoodcarefitness.com. And you can also find Hilary on all of the social media platforms under the name Take Good Care Fitness. Sign up for a class or a training session today. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. And that was what was new in the 802. The Vermont Talks show music was created by Jason Baker. Thank you so much, Jason, for making the music. You can check out his website at jbakervt.com.